Alright guys, Simon here. We're playing not Mass Effect. We're playing Assassin's Creed 1. And here we are in Acre. Apparently according to Wikipedia, it's pronounced Acre, not Acre. I don't know. Okay, Acre. So we're in Acre and we have good news and bad news. We've got some information on Wikipedia and Google Maps. The bad news is that we don't actually have any information from the Crusades, and I'll explain. So actually, let's just look at the map here. So this is the map of Acre in game. So there's a little peninsula here apparently, and the rich district is there, and the poor district is here, right? You see the shape of this. So in Google Maps, that's like the port, right? That's a bit that sticks out. That's the rich district, and then the poor district is here, and then the medium district is there. But you see that's like a grid, which is a pretty modern kind of city style, and even here there's like modern suburbs too. Whereas there seems to be like a historical city here. There's like 4 mosques, I think. Oh, if you zoom in, you see like there's like a mosque there, and then well, there's a few mosques. Let's just say that. So you think, okay, well, there's a bit of history in the old, in the old city in the rich quarter maybe. And actually, and if you want to zoom out, Acre is in Israel. There, the Sea of Galilee is there. Jerusalem's down here, so it's at the north of Israel, right? So that's where it is, and it's got a little peninsula here. Forms a pretty good port. So, Acre in Israel, according to Wikipedia, historically it was a strategic coastal link to the Levant. Well, that's Palestine and Israel basically. In Crusader times, it was known as St. John the Acre or Acre, after the Knights Hospitaller of St. John. So the Knights Hospitaller were headquartered here. St. John Order, who had their headquarters there. Well, I just said that. Acre is the holiest city of the Baha'i faith. Well, that came afterwards. In 2011, the population was about 46,000. That's not too useful. So also, Acre is one of the oldest continuously inhabited sites in the world, which is not too surprising. So we're gonna skip most of this stuff, but let's go to Crusader and Mamluk period. So here we go. After roughly 4 years of siege, Acre finally capitulated to the forces of King Baldwin I of Jerusalem. So Kingdom of Jerusalem conquered Acre in 1104 during the First Crusade. The Crusaders also made the town their chief port in Palestine. On the First Crusade, Fulcher relates his travels with the crusading armies of King Baldwin, including initially staying over in Acre before the armies advanced to Jerusalem. So, if I remember right, the Crusaders kind of came down from the north, so they took Acre and then they marched towards Jerusalem afterwards. So this demonstrates that even from the beginning, Acre was an important link between the Crusades and their advance into the Levant. Its function was to provide Crusaders with a foothold in the region and access to vibrant trade that made them prosperous, especially giving them access to the Asiatic spice trade. So remember how earlier I was talking about, people dying for religion or people dying for money. Well, here we are, the access to the port of Acre provided the Kingdom of Jerusalem, access to the to the prosperous spice trade from Asia, right? So it's money. It's not. I mean, religion I guess was part of it, and culture was part of it, but money was a big part of it. So they're on the trade route from the Middle East, between the Middle East and Europe, right? Let's see. So by the 1130s, it had a population of around 25,000 and was only matched for size in the Crusader kingdom by the city of Jerusalem. Around 1170 it became the main port of the eastern Mediterranean, and the Kingdom of Jerusalem was regarded in the West as enormously wealthy above all because of Acre. According to the English Contemporary, it provided more for the Crusader crown than the total revenues of the King of England. So at this point in time, Western Europe was actually really poor. This was the Dark Ages. Whereas over here in the Middle East and in Asia, it was it was much more prosperous in this part of the world. So there we go, money, man. The Andalusian geographer Ibn Jubayr wrote that in 1185 there was still a Muslim community in the city who worshipped in a small mosque. Acre, along with Beirut and Sidon, or Sidon, I don't know if that's Sidon, capitulated without a fight to Abuyubid, Ayubid, Sultan Saladin, in 1187. So Saladin eventually destroyed or recaptured the Holy Lands from the Crusaders, but then the Crusaders came back out of it. So it's kind of this long drawn out back and forth between the Crusaders and the Muslims. After his decisive victory at Hattin and the subsequent Muslim capture of Jerusalem, so Saladin recaptured Jerusalem, it remained in Muslim hands until it was unexpectedly besieged by King Guy of Lusignan. I don't know who or where that is, reinforced by peasant naval and ground forces. In August 1189, the siege was unique in the history of the Crusades, since the Frankish besiegers were themselves besieged by Saladin's troops. So you have the Europeans surrounding the city, and then you have Saladin's troops surrounding the Europeans, right? It was not captured until July 1191 when the forces of the Third Crusade, led by Richard I of England and Philip II of France, came to King Guy's aid. So they kept going on these crusades to try to capture the Holy Land from the Muslims, and they had various levels of success. Acre continued to prosper as a major commercial hub of the Eastern Mediterranean, but also underwent turbulent times due to the bitter infighting among the Crusader factions that occasionally resulted in civil wars. Oh wait, I missed a few sentences, didn't I? Acre then served as the de facto capital of the remnant Kingdom of Jerusalem in 1192, and later became a seat of the Knights Hospitaller military order. So the Knights Hospitaller took over the city, I guess. The old part of the city, where the port and fort were located, protrudes from the coastline. So this bit protrudes from the coastline, exposing both sides of the narrow piece of land to the sea. This could maximize its production as a port, and the narrow entrance to this protrusion served as a natural and easy defense of the old city. So you kind of build a wall there, as they have, and then you can have a port on both sides, which is awesome. Both the archaeological record and Crusader texts emphasize Acre's strategic importance, a city in which it was crucial to pass through, control, and, as evidenced by the massive walls, protect. Did I call it Acre again? Acre was the final stronghold of the Crusader states when much of the Levantine coastline was conquered by Mamluk forces. These are Egyptian forces. They were headquartered in Cairo. The city, having been isolated and largely abandoned by Europe, capitulated to the Mamluks led by Sultan al-Ashraf Khalil in a bloody siege in 1291, in line with Mamluk policy regarding the coastal cities, to prevent their future utilization by Crusader forces. Acre was entirely destroyed, with the exception of a few religious edifices considered sacred by the Muslims, namely the Nabi Silah tomb and the Ayn Bakar spring. So it would be... Actually, maybe we should find these things. Let me just zoom out a little bit, turn to the map. So the spring, I think... I don't know where this stuff is. Hold on. Let's just type this stuff in case we want to find them. Let's see if we can find it. Did I not copy? Oh, there we go. No, that sucks. Garden of Remembrance, Jerusalem Garden, Old Acre Cemetery, Acre Muslim New Cemetery, Tomb of... I don't know where... Church of St. John. Oh, that's interesting. So that must be the old Hospitaller church. Or maybe it's a new one, they just kind of rebuilt it. I wouldn't think the Muslims, the Mamluks, would let that kind of get by. The Ayn Bakar spring. What did that say? No, that's in France. Alright, so I can't find any of this stuff on the map. Acre was entirely destroyed with the exception of... yeah, there we go. The destruction of the city led to popular Arabic sayings in the region enshrining its past glory. In 1321, the Syrian geographer Abu Fida wrote that Acre was a beautiful city, but still in ruins following its capture by the Mamluks. Nonetheless, the spacious port was still in use and the city was full of artisans. Throughout the Mamluk era, Acre was succeeded by Safad as the principal city of its province. So the whole thing was destroyed by the Mamluks. So we're not going to have any chance of finding, you know, any of these landmarks on modern maps because everything's been destroyed since this time. So there we go. We can't actually look things up in game, or you know, look things up, look up in-game things in Google. And again, like I said earlier about how, like, very little remains from the Crusades because of the wars and because so many things were destroyed during the wars. Whereas, you know, in Assassin's Creed 2, where they moved towards Renaissance Italy, a lot of that stuff survived to the modern day, so that you can find them. Actually, why does... so the main road here has this little curb on the side, but the main road goes up the stairs. Let's follow the main road, see what happens. So I guess we're just gonna walk around the city casually and see what we can find. So this thing stops here, although it starts again further on. Interesting. So we're trying to find the roads that look like they're most important. Okay, I see. So then this just, you go turn up the stairs and then you go straight to the hospital. And the hospital is important to the game, as well as important to the city, I guess, if this is where the hospitaliers are, where the Grandmaster is. So there's the Templar cross. And the hospital is symmetrical, of course, which is awesome. Or is it? Hold on, there's 3 there. Oh, this is symmetrical. And the main stairs go straight down into a little fountain, and it continues downwards there. And it also faces the cathedral in the distance too. That's pretty good. Like, the view is pretty impressive. I don't know where we should go next. Let me just see if we can look at this. So we came up this way, right? So there's a wide street there, and then there's this thing. So this seems like it should be a main thoroughfare, but then this is blocked off in the game. There's also this. I'm not sure if I can make much sense of the city from this. Anyway, let's just keep walking around. So the hospital is there. There was another building on this side. I don't remember what it is. Also, you see how there's a lot of broken walls and then broken buildings all around. No doubt an indication of the fact that this city was conquered recently and the scars of the war remains. Although it might also be an indication that the Templars aren't, I mean the Hospitaliers aren't actually taking very good care of the city. There's that too. Although given how prosperous this city should be with the spice trade and everything, not sure why they wouldn't just rebuild quite quickly. Sometimes, like, you know, fallen down buildings and then lack of repair demonstrates a poorly managed city, as it were, or even just a poorly governed country. So there's a... I don't know what this is. I think this is like a park. I think it is a park. Actually, where is it? Where is it on the map? It's there on the map. Maybe it's one of these things. Anything recognizable? Not really, no. Unless... that's not very good. Is it? Unless it's that. No, I don't think it's anything we can recognize in in modern
What
maps.
was the reason for doing that?
Let me just walk up here. So there's like a garden down here. What's upstairs? Is it like a graveyard or just a garden? Just crazy people walking around. I think it's just a garden. Yeah, okay. I see. Quite nice though. I wonder if it has a more of a role to play in the game. It might.
I need food. I'm so hungry. Just a little money, I beg of you.
Alright, so we've got this. So there's a hospital there, there's like a garden thing there. There's a covered street there. I guess it was a market, but now it's not. And then everything else is just houses. Except for this thing. I don't know what that is. Actually, let's just go straight forward there. And then maybe come around this way just to see what the stuff is.
Don't leave like this. Just a few coins, please.
Wait a minute. According to the map, there's a way forward. But maybe it's here? No. Why would the map say there's a road here? Did you guys see that? I swear the map says... Maybe it's behind this wall. It must be behind this wall. Alright, let's see if we can get around there. There's a lot of long, narrow buildings here. Maybe... I think it's for the gameplay, to make it slightly less easy to navigate the city. Like, it seems like... You see how there's long streets? A lot of them. See how these kind of long streets? It makes it so that if you want to go, you know, across, you know, to the other side of this chain of buildings, then you kind of have to climb over. So maybe it's just there to encourage people to climb around a bit more. We're not going to do that right now. Alright, let's get back to here. Okay, so here's a square, and then nothing. There's nothing here. But this is like a main road. Oh, yeah, this is a main road. And it does lead to the next part of the city. Alright, so there's a main road here. And then it just kind of disappears. It's a bit of a well, I guess it doesn't. I guess it continues this way. It's a bit of a shame, really. Like, there's not much continuity in the street pattern. Although this happens a lot when there's not enough town planning, as was the case back in the Dark Ages, and even in medieval times. There's a lack of town planning. I think it wasn't until the Renaissance when Europe really picked up on town planning again. Like, when you don't have enough money, it's hard to organize things, you know? Alright, so this... yeah, I think this is meant to be a souk, a market. Except it's completely run down and there's no shops here anymore. So that sucks. So the city is not doing too well if the marketplace is empty, right?
Please, sir, have any money?
Where else? I want to go down here, right? Just to check what that building is.
Money, sir. I'm poor and sick and hungry.
Yeah, no, this is not too interesting, unfortunately. Not much we can do to explore. Wait, I'm going the wrong way. Like, not much we can learn about architecture from just kind of running around. I've said a few other things in other videos too. About, you know, the stonework and then the sloped roofs and all that. How it's slightly more European than the materials and shapes we've seen in Damascus, for example. I just went past it again. But I mean, they're rebuilding this a completely destroyed city here. Okay, I need to climb over here. So they're making it up, and unfortunately making stuff up is usually not as interesting as real things, because real things are usually more, you know, detailed and then nuanced. then something's... Okay, this is a church, right? So there's a church here. But I would imagine the Mamluks would have destroyed it.
Could you spare a few coins?
So there's
A few
no...
coins, all I ask for is but a few coins.
There's no historical record
Oh,
of
you haven't.
what this was. Alright,
Stand and
I think I'm gonna end our little architecture walk around poor district of Acre here. Like it's not that impressive. Like there's not too much to say because you know there's no, we can't look up the history. But I mean it looks good, you know, it serves the gameplay. It's just that the real shame that it doesn't tie into the real world as much as you would like. Especially since, you know, I've played the later games and I know how much fun it is to see like these old cities with these landmarks that I can actually recognize. That's really cool. Alright, I'm gonna end it here. When we come back, we're gonna go on with the main mission. I'll see you guys there.